Chase Daniel, the mothership, NFL college football analyst and co-host of the Athletics Scoop City podcast. Also, check out the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube. He'll be on the call for the Independence Bowl, Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Tech. That'll be December 30th on the mothership. And he'll also be in the radio booth for the Orange Bowl college football playoff quarterfinal on New Year's Day. Good to talk to you. Of all the tape you've been breaking down, give me the one that stood out, good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's two in my opinion. The first one is Josh Allen and just what he's been able to do with so much less. And that was sort of the MVP conversation last year. And you break it down, the first half was awful. The Bills couldn't move the ball at all. The Patriots had them figured out. Bills defensively looked bad. And then you just turn on the second half and they rolled. And it's just every single time that the Bills need to make a play, they rely on Josh Allen. And Josh Allen was put in some crazy situations, and he was able to make some plays. The other one, Dan, that I really enjoyed watching, and I think no one is talking about them, is Jacksonville Jaguars. What Liam Cohn is doing with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this was without a doubt the best game Trevor Lawrence has ever played, maybe at any level. And it's not only because of the 6 touchdowns, right? That's nice. And you look at the stats and you're like, oh, that's awesome. But you look at the play calling, you look at the play sequencing, meaning what plays are you running back to back to back. He has different plays and 3 different variations that may make the defense react certain ways, the amount of play action, the trust that Trevor Lawrence is throwing, and just it's been impressive to watch because in my opinion, the jury was a little bit out on Trevor Lawrence. Hey, how's he going to react? How's he going to be with this third head coach or fourth, well, however many it is? And then you see what Liam Cohn's been able to do, and he's been able to highlight the strong parts of Trevor Lawrence's game, and that's throwing the football down the field. And so it's just been really impressive. The other one, real quick, is Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, to me, and Ben Johnson. If you just look at what Ben Johnson's doing, he's worth 14 points a game because he's scheming guys wide open, but also Caleb Williams actually trying to find stuff open and throw stuff open, and his growth has been really good. I can't believe the Bears have 10 wins right now.
Okay, but he's getting credit for that throw to DJ Moore.
Yeah, that was risky. I honestly broke it down on the YouTube. It'll be out today, and when I see that throw made, it's so nonchalant, right? He has the ball down here and he just sort of tosses it up like a prayer. And I don't know, first of all, how the first safety missed it. And then secondly, the guy covering DJ Moore, it went right through his hands. And so everyone's going to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's a great throw. I think it's risky.
You know, back to Josh Allen and trying to equate what is value. And is it equal with being great in September and October to being great in December? And this is where Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford's been great wire to wire.
Yes, no doubt.
But so I don't know, if I was a voter, how do I equate what he's doing now in December as opposed to what Matthew Stafford has done the entire year?
I think Matthew Stafford still deserves the MVP and what he's been able to do with this Rams team. But Dan, here's my thing, and I'm not a voter. I know some people who are voters, and everyone votes differently. If you look at the roster that Josh Allen has and what he's been able to do lately, you can't even remotely compare it to the roster that Matthew Stafford has. Now, Matthew's making some insane throws, and Matthew's playing some of the best ball of his career. But you look at Kyron Williams, and I know Josh Allen has the running back, but you look at the receiver group over there for the Rams with Puka and Devontae and just to me, I don't think that Josh Allen has overtaken Matthew Stafford in the MVP race, but this is the year for Josh Allen. If there's any year that he's going to make some hay in the AFC and actually win a Super Bowl, it's going to be on the back of Josh Allen. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson. There's no Joe Burrow. So Josh Allen, it's going to be talked about if they're limping into the playoffs, which they're not right now, or they go a round or two and they lose again. It just seems to me, and they just beat the best team in the AFC other than the Broncos. And so to me, this is the year that Josh Allen has to get it done, man.
Did you break down Phillip Rivers?
I did. Yes, it didn't get a lot of views because I guess no one cares about Old Man Rivers, but it's on the YouTube channel. First of all, forget about any of the stats. A 44-year-old
Wait, are you
is able
grading
to do that.
differently? Are you grading differently because you go, well, it's a 44-year-old guy? Are you treating him the same way you would Shador Sanders?
Not even close. And it's grading on a curve because Philip Rivers hasn't thrown a pass in 5 years. So he's coaching his high school team. And when you go on the road against that Mike McDonald defense in Seattle and almost win, like it just, here's the thing. They can't really throw it outside the numbers because Phillips' arm strength just isn't there. I mean, he threw a couple that were like lollipops, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they barely fit in there. But in between the numbers, and I would say the one thing that really stood out to me is mentally, man, he has not missed it at all. You see him out there after the first like 20 plays where he's filling it out, he's getting the speed of the game. He's changing plays left to right. He's motioning. He's doing this. He's changing the pass plays. I'm like, how do you have all this figured out? You got there on Monday. Your first practice was Wednesday. So it was impressive for what it was. I mean, the stats aren't there. It's a huge Monday night game against the 49ers, though.
He's Chase Daniel, the mothership, ESPN college football and NFL analyst, and his show is on YouTube, the Chase Daniel Show. I talked a little bit, opening segment, about Jackson Dart. You know, the Commander's going to shut down Jaden Daniels. They know what they have with him and let him just get healthy in the offseason. With Jackson Dart, if you've been in the blue tent 5 times in 10 games, we have a real problem here, but I don't know how you change somebody with their style. And you as a quarterback, what do you say to Jackson Dart? If he was your teammate and he played this way and you were his backup, well, you might say, hey, keep playing this way. I'm going to get in games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But can he change, modify that style?
He's going to have to, and it's been talked about. And when you watch the games and you do it, it's not out of a place of like, oh, I don't care about my body. I think he's just uber competitive, but it's borderline reckless right now. And I think that's what he has to understand, and the new head coach has to understand. And I think they have to go offense for their new head coach because Jackson Dart, in my opinion, is the franchise quarterback. He's done that, and yes, there are certain ways that you can run an offense with the quarterback running, but you have to ingrain it in the quarterback's head. If you keep doing this, we're just not going to call the plays and we're not going to call the runs. And it is a big part of his game. And I mean, Dan, if you go back to his Ole Miss days, I mean, that showed up all over the film. It was like, hey, I want to take a hit. I want to do this. I mean, to be in the tent five times in 10 games, it's just not the case. And when you get into those situations, right, because the game's moving really fast, emotionally, you're just in that situation and you don't think of it, and all of a sudden you just get popped. And it's just, I mean, did you see the Commanders meeting with Dan Quinn on the Hard Knocks in season? They were talking about how Jackson Dart, and Dan Quinn was talking about how Jackson Dart is reckless and he has no awareness of. He's like, we have to pop him, we have to hit him. Joe Witt said the same thing. The defensive coordinator, we have to hit Jackson Dart. So it's being talked about in other locker rooms. That's how you know it's a problem. And Jackson Dart has to, like, when he goes back this offseason after the season and they pick the head coach, they're going to sit down and be like, this is the number one thing we have to fix. You are uber talented, but you have to be available for our football team.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's been ingrained in him that his dad was a defensive back. I mean, he plays like he's a defensive back playing quarterback, and I just wonder, can you instinctively, as you're running, go, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to slide. Wait, what am I supposed to do? I don't know if you can do that, and I think that'll be a real challenge for him. And it doesn't sound like he wants to change.
I think the one thing, though, that I saw change and that maybe gives me hope is that if you look at Jaden Daniels in college, right, the one thing I was worried about him was he did take too many hits, whether it was sacks or running, and he's a true pocket passer that can take off and is exceptional running the football. He got smoked in college a few times, and I was worried about his frame. I was worried about him getting hurt more in the NFL. He's done a really nice job, and Dan Quinn's done a really nice job of understanding, same with Cliff Kingsbury, hey, you got to get down and you got to do this. And it's just maybe baby steps. But I think the first thing that has to happen is he has to, Jackson Dart has to take accountability for it. And if you can't, I mean, you're not going to sit the guy for not playing, but eventually he's going to get hurt. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. And maybe that will make it click for him like, hey, I can't be doing this to my team.
The Dolphins have talked about sitting down Tua. It feels like if you sit him down. Now, I'd like to see Quinn Ewers maybe get a little run here at the end of the year, but it feels like once you sit somebody down, are you kind of saying to the team, we're moving on from that quarterback?
Look, if that's a great question, and the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, whoever it may be next year, because I have no idea what they're going to do. They're going to have a decision to make with Tua, and I don't care about his contract and what happens, but it just seems like, hey, has Tua lived up to the standards on what they probably thought they were going to be? Probably not, right? Like playoffs have been a dud, all this stuff, and then if you sit them down, I mean, you're saying you want to see what a seventh round has for the next 3 games. And if that seventh rounder plays well enough, or maybe you're in the QB conversation, I don't think the jury's out yet on if Tua is done or not, but it is a very difficult situation, especially if you're Tua and you're seeing McDaniels make these comments and you're like, oh my gosh, like, man, I thought I've done enough. And Tua's been really outspoken on a lot of different things this year. It will be interesting to see if McDaniels is the head coach next year, does he bring back Tua? I don't know, man. It's a tough situation. These last 3-4 games for teams that aren't in the playoff hunt, it's all about evaluation. You know that. And so they want to evaluate not only the quarterback position, but there's going to be some stuff defensively they do. There's going to be stuff offensively they do. They need to really evaluate the last, 20, 25 guys on the roster of that 53. And I don't think they want Tua out there doing that.
What should the Chiefs' approach be for next season?
Oh, man. We talk about, I have a lot of really good friends in the Chiefs organization, from the GM to the quarterback coach to the a lot of guys. And when you talk to these guys, it's just like a little bit of like unknown. Like, why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we doing this? And how are we not winning? And you look at it, Dan, and it comes down to, and I've really tried to study it, because when you look at them offensively and defensively, they're not like awful, right? They don't have a run game, right? And I think it's a lazy take to just say, hey, it's just the offensive line. They drafted a first-round pick. They have one of the best centers in the NFL. They got to stay healthy. They paid the right tackle. And it's just one of those things where I boil it down to be like, they aren't great in one-score games. I mean, I think they were 11-0 last year. They're 1-7 this year, and that's a huge part of this deal. If you win 4 of those 7 games, you're in the playoffs. Now, Mahomes hurt, and it's brutal. And I think this might be the best thing to happen to the Chiefs. Everyone wants to talk about like, hey, the dynasty's over and this and that. And, Trey Wingo got on Twitter and said, hey, nice season. Tom Brady tears his ACL with the Patriots dynasty, and then Mahomes tears his ACL. It's just a different version going to be moving forward. And I just think that Brett Veach, when you win Super Bowls, and you've been in 5 of the last 6, you've been in 7 straight AFC Championship, you've had storybook seasons every year. First of all, they played, I think, 23 extra games, almost a season and a half of extra games in 7 years. So the tiredness plays into it. However, a lot of times you're just like, let's run it back. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. And they've drafted well, but they got to get rid of some older guys. They got some key decisions to make. They got to shore up that defensive line. As long as they have Spags and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, I think they're still going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs next year. Like, it's not going to be one of those things where, hey, it's just a different version of the dynasty, in my opinion.
Yeah, but when people make that comparison with Brady and Mahomes needs his legs. Tom doesn't. Yeah. Tom didn't get slower. He was slow. Mahomes, he was their leading rusher. He was the guy who got those big plays. So it's different for him. And with that kind of surgery, it's an LCL and an ACL, and you're having it now. Tom got injured at the beginning of the season when he blew out his ACL. So it's different.
And it is totally different. And here's the thing, though. I think it'll be good for them because they're going to have to fix the run game. Like, they're not going to have to rely on Mahomes anymore. And yes, Mahomes like to move around. Remember, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when Mahomes did his kneecap, and the quarterback sneak, and everyone, their mom thought, oh, he's going to miss the rest of the season. I think it was maybe Chad Henne that was a quarterback.
Yeah.
He was back in 2 weeks, and so the ability to get back into train and ACL and LCL is completely different than a kneecap. But everyone thought that was going to be the end of the world. I mean, he's going to be pushing up to the season. I don't think he's obviously going to have a brace on, and it's not going to be able to move him. But if anyone can heal fast, I think it's Mahomes.
When do you start chopping up the college quarterbacks?
Yeah, that'll be after Christmas. So I got to get through this bowl game, Independence Bowl, and then as we get into the start of the playoffs, it's those three at the top, in my opinion: Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, and there's a few more that I want to look at for potential. Ty Simpson is one of them. I think he sort of played his way out, but those are the three now with Arch Manning going back, and there's some other like under the radar type guys, but that'll be at the end of the season for sure.
Have the Saints seen enough that they would not be in the quarterback market with Shuck?
Look, I know the people down there, and they've been extremely happy with Shuck's development. And honestly, I think they probably should have played him a little bit earlier, if I'm being honest with you, just to see what they have. I think there's enough tape on film to be like, hey, all right, we're good. Now, if you have a high first round pick, though, and if you can get into that top three, I mean, you have to look at Fernando Mendoza. You have to look at Dante Moore. I think Shuck's good, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the head coach. I mean, the head coach is staying down there and more, but I think you're good. I don't know. There's so many other holes on that roster that you need to fix, but he's done a really nice job. I mean, if you've really broken down the film and watched it, and his growth has been tremendous.
Have fun in the Independence Bowl. Happy holidays to you, and always great to talk to you.
Appreciate you, Dan.
That's Chase Daniel, the mothership, and also the Athletic Scoop City with Diana Rossini, that great podcast. And you can check out the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube.